We are here with Dan and Swampy, the creators, voices, writers, and Phineas and Ferb, which is finally coming back.
Yes.
It was such a big part of my childhood, which is crazy for me to be sitting here talking to you guys. You know, why was now the perfect time to bring it back for season 5?
Because they said they would.
That was pretty.
They would pay us money.
Yeah,
to
that
come
was.
back and do it.
They called and said, "Would you make more?" And we're like,
Yeah, sure.
Best job we ever had.
Absolutely.
Duh.
There you go. That's the simple answer.
You know, and the truth is, I think, and Dan said it before, during COVID, it really got a lot of streams on Disney Plus because it was sort of a comfort watch for people. And they realized that the show never really lost that much popularity over all these years. So somebody probably asked the question, why did we stop making those? And probably without anyone giving a reasonable answer to that question, they said, I don't know, call them.
Well, is it true that you guys came up with the concept and the characters back in 1993? Which
93.
Yeah, so it was true. So
A long time ago.
What's
Yeah.
it like to know that it's been more than 30 years now. What's it like to know that it's held up so well over time?
It's gratifying that we continued to pitch that show in spite of all the no's.
Yes.
We got to find out that we were right.
Yes,
in the last.
Exactly. I like when we're proven right and everybody's proven wrong. But it's been so great to just see, just realizing there's still so many fans out there for it. I think that when the show stopped, we just moved on and made another show, and we're thinking, and there's always this special place in my heart for this show, and I don't think I realized till TikTok that I got on TikTok and I did like one video where I talked like Doofenshmirtz, and it got millions of hits, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started like just scrolling through TikTok, and I would look for Phineas and Ferb stuff, and just the amount of people still talking about this show then made me feel like, oh, this is really, it felt great. It felt great.
Yeah, well, that actually leads into my next question, because there's that one that I'm always hearing, that TikTok trend, and it's the if I had a nickel for every time.
If I had a nickel for every time I was doomed by a puppet, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
This happened, I'd have 2 nickels.
A friend of mine is a college professor, and for years he's been hearing people say that thing. If I had a nickel for every time blank, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. And he texted me like a month ago and said, oh my gosh, Dan, I just found out that this thing that people have been saying in my classes for years is a quote of you, which I love that. It's sort of become part of the pop culture.
Yeah, Phineas and Ferb, they've invented a lot, from time machines, giant gelatin molds, Swinter. What inventions were you each most proud of, or most excited to share with the fan base?
Wow. To me, the quintessential thing that they built was the roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was just like the perfect thing to, like what would 2 9-year-old boys get up to if they could do anything?
Build a roller coaster. Still, my favorite Doofenshmirtz device is the chicken replacinator, which again was the one that we came up with for a very specific reason, obviously.
Yes.
And we have now used it in 3 episodes.
And a movie.
And a movie.
And a movie.
We
yes.
did not realize
like,
just how versatile
it's a
it is
useful thing.
to replace something with the nearest or farthest chicken.
Swampy, I saw this video of you singing with Michael Buble, who's he's going to be a guest star, I guess, this season.
Don't know why my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey home.
What was that experience like? How did that all come together?
That's gonna get me. Sorry.
Because Swampy's granddad wrote Sentimental Journey.
Wow.
So I made a joke to him saying, how come I haven't heard you do Sentimental Journey? And we just started singing it.
Yeah.
And he sang along, and I got to sing my grandfather's song with Michael Buble.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just one of the coolest things ever.
Cool.
That is.
He's one of the nicest guys.
Michael's just a big fan of the show, and he reached out to me on TikTok, because he's big on TikTok too, and we ended up having lunch and talking about, what could we do together? And I said, look, if you want to come and sing a song on the show, we will write a song specifically for you to sing. And he's like, I will absolutely do that. And then, like a couple months later, we wrote the song and sent it to him. And he was like, I am in. And then he
The
texted
song
me
is
and
called
said,
Tropey McTrope
Yes.
Face.
and he texted me and said, you would have loved being a fly on the wall in the meeting with my manager where I told him what I really wanted to do at this point in my career was sing a song called Tropey McTrope Face. And I was like, well, I'm glad we got you then.
That's great.
Yeah, that little video of me singing with him, my mom saw it, and she called me crying.
Oh,
That's so nice.
Perfect.
That was such a sweet
Thank
video.
you, Michael.
Well, he's not the only one guest starring. You've also got John Stamos coming on, Anna Faris, Alan Cumming, Meghan Trainor. Who are you most excited about working with, and who would be a dream guest star of yours?
Meghan Trainor just knocked. We wrote a song for her, and she just went off and did all these harmonies and stuff to it, and
She killed it.
Sounds fantastic. And then she came in, and she's also a character in the show. That was fantastic. I know who Swampy's going to say. He's going to say Helen Mirren because
I always say Helen Mirren.
He's been saying that for a long time.
If you want to do a cartoon, Helen, call us.
Yes.
But one of the fun things is we got to grab a couple of the folks from the Ted Lasso cast, which I am in love with every frame of Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
I
it's
ended
a great show.
up becoming friends with Christo Fernandez, and then he turned us on to Coach Beard, Brendan Hunt, and both of them said yes and came out and just had the best day with them. So
that's
that
so
was fun too.
We have like a Ted Lasso, Phineas and Ferb crossover.
Well, they occupy a very similar space of positivity
Yeah.
in the world. And when I started watching it, I originally said to my wife, this is kind of the live action, spiritually and emotionally the live action version of our show.
Yeah.
It's really good natured
They
as
get-
its core.
They get a lot of what feels like edgy humor out of characters being really nice
Really
and
nice.
genuinely good people.
And I think we need more of that in the world today.